Luminar, the Light Sovereign, wanted to call the wager unfair. Nethros the Death Sovereign stopped him first. Luminar was one side of the wager. He could not interfere. Only then did he realize Nethros had prepared for this in advance. He still said Ilaria Dawnveil had one final card left. In the dual expanse, the Black Dragon Bastion was already rampaging. Because it could detach from its base, it flew to its limit and destroyed Sacred Radiance Knight bastions without restraint. With 100 kilometers of flight and 100 kilometers of attack range, the zone it could cover reached 200 kilometers. Every Sacred Radiance Knight bastion inside that space was burned apart by umbral dragon breath. Ilaria was shaken, but she did not surrender. She stopped attacking and drew her later Sacred Radiance Knights far away from Leon Carte. Leon knew at once that she was waiting for a chance to kill him in one strike. He returned to the trade network, bought trash relics, fused them into lesser exquisite relics, and sold them for huge amounts of energy. That also strengthened the Death faction. Aurelia, the Life Sovereign, could only watch as Leon pulled the whole situation back almost by himself. Luminar kept staring at Ilaria. He knew what she was about to use. Rite of Radiant Sacrifice. When 1,000 Sacred Radiance Knights had gathered, Ilaria prayed. A beam of light descended onto one knight. The other 999 were drained dry. All of their power gathered into that chosen body. Then, the final form appeared. Sacred Radiance Marshal. It had 300,000 life, 60,000 defense, sacred restoration, and hallowed body. It healed 10% of its maximum life every second. It ignored all negative effects. Ilaria saw victory. Leon saw disaster. The Black Dragon Bastion could barely break its defense, and any damage it caused would be healed back almost instantly. If the Sacred Radiance Marshal reached his side, the Black Dragon Bastion would die. Once that happened, his defeat would be settled. Then Leon felt a faint prompt in his mind. Skeletons and darkness matched well together. Leon had 600,000 energy. He gave up on building another Black Dragon Bastion, and spent it on 3,000 skeleton bone bastions instead. Then he used Sovereign Assimilation. The result was 2 Bone Overlord Bastions, and 1 Reaper's Attendant Bastion. The Bone Overlord Bastions looked weak. The Reaper's Attendant Bastion did not. It possessed White Bone Expanse, Bone-forged armament, and Deathblight infusion. After absorbing power from Umbral Dominion, it gained a black veil and invisibility. The Bone Overlord Bastions gained Umbral Detonation. Leon moved immediately. The Reaper's Attendant Bastion released White Bone Expanse. Bones flooded the ground. The 2 Bone Overlord Bastions absorbed those bones and transformed into Bone Giant Bastions. Their armor rose to 1 million. Their attack reached 60,000. Their bone throws could strike 100 kilometers away and exploded with darkness. Then the Sacred Radiance Marshal charged into Umbral Dominion. Twin Strike could not break its defense. Maddening Discord and Umbral Erosion both failed, because Hallowed Body ignored them. The Black Dragon Bastion attacked next. With Umbral Dominion boosting it, its attack rose to 60,000. Even so, it only barely broke defense. The damage was slower than the Marshal's healing. The Sacred Radiance Marshal answered with Holy Lance thrust. The Black Dragon Bastion twisted away from a killing strike, but its wing was pierced, and its armor dropped by 40,000 and Leon ordered it back. The Sacred Radiance Marshal moved to stop the retreat. Leon immediately ordered the 2 Bone Giant Bastions to attack it. They condensed giant bone spheres and hurled them from nearly 100 kilometers away. The Sacred Radiance Marshal shattered both with Sacred Light Orb. Then the broken spheres turned into countless fragments. The fragments rained down and exploded with darkness. More than 20,000 life was blown away. A second later, Sacred Restoration healed it back. Leon's expression hardened. The Sacred Radiance Marshal was thinking. It advanced again. Leon ordered the Bone Giant Bastions and the Black Dragon Bastion to attack together. Again, the damage rose. Again, it healed back. The Sacred Radiance Marshal pushed into the 10-kilometer zone. Leon gave a new command. Reaper's Attendant Bastion. Attack. The Sacred Radiance Marshal stared toward the black-veiled bastion and saw nothing then. Then pain exploded from its arm. It had been cut. The strike carried over 60,000 damage. A second later, the wound healed. The Sacred Radiance Marshal kept moving. Leon shouted for everything to stop it. Under the control of the Reaper's attendant bastion, the two bone giant bastions changed shape. They became two giant scythes. The scythes vanished the moment they were grasped. Then, the invisible slashes began. One strike tore away 40,000 life. Sacred Restoration could heal 30,000 life each second. But that was no longer enough. The second invisible slash landed. The Sacred Radiance Marshal's life dropped even further. Far away, Ilaria was shocked. She immediately ordered the Sacred Radiance Marshal to withdraw. It endured the damage and escaped beyond 10 kilometers. Only then did its life stop dropping. Ilaria prepared to use Rite of Radiant Sacrifice again. The battlefield changed before she could heal. The Reaper's attendant bastion grabbed the Black Dragon bastion and cast Deathblight Infusion on it. Death power flooded the dragon body. Under Leon's stunned gaze, the Black Dragon bastion transformed into a Gravebone Dreadworm. The Reaper's attendant bastion mounted it at once and took to the air. Ilaria ordered another retreat. This time, the Reaper's attendant bastion refused to let the Sacred Radiance Marshal escape. It swung once. The Sacred Radiance Marshal crashed to the ground and could not move. One hidden bone scythe appeared and pinned it to the earth. The Reaper's attendant bastion flew close on the Gravebone Dreadworm and cut down in a frenzy with the second scythe. The Sacred Radiance Marshal could only endure. Less than half a minute later, its life hit bottom. The Sacred Radiance Marshal died. Luminar was stunned. Aurelia had no answer. Leon had broken the Sacred Radiance Marshal through the combined assault of 4 different bastion types. But in the dual expanse, Leon gave Ilaria no time. Killing the Sacred Radiance Marshal gave him enough energy to build another Dark Locust Overlord bastion. Umbral Dominion had failed against the Sacred Radiance Marshal. Against Sacred Radiance Knight bastions, it was brutal. Maddening discord and umbral erosion stripped away their defenses. One by one, the Sacred Radiance Knight bastions became helpless targets. As their numbers fell, Ilaria lost all power to resist. Leon occupied every remaining zone. At last, the proud Daughter of Light withdrew in silence. Leon won the duel. It was the hardest battle he had fought since entering the wager. He had still survived it. Then a new prompt sounded in his mind. Nethros had taken a deep interest in him. He obtained Death Sovereign's Aegis. Within his territory, energy gain doubled. Relic drops doubled. Special item production doubled. All his bastions gained death, aura execution, chances growth, chances special advancement, chances lifesteal, and overflow protection. Death Sovereign's Aegis had one more effect. It pulled attacks toward Leon. The enemy representatives bordering him began prioritizing his territory. Large numbers of low-level kin died under the rapid attacks of the Dark Locust Overlord bastions. The bastions guarding the border killed enemy after enemy. Their attributes climbed quickly. Leon soon obtained Tower Ascension Stones and large numbers of relics. The bordering representatives of the Life faction had no choice. Under Death Sovereign's Aegis, their kin ignored easier targets and rushed into Leon's land to die. Leon's line could not be broken. His border Dark Locust Overlord bastions had already grown to terrifying levels. Their average armor reached 3 million. Their average attack reached 46,000 and their average defense reached 80,000. Leon turned to the drops from Ilaria's destroyed bastions and found something new. Alliance Sigil card. If both sides agreed, allies from the same faction could enter each other's territory and build bastions there together. In the unnamed sovereign expanse, Luminar and Aurelia unwillingly handed over threads of divine authority. Nethros accepted them. Luminar still demanded another wager. Aurelia agreed. Nethros hesitated until Umbros, the Dark Sovereign, emerged from shadow behind him. Divine war was coming between the Umbral Godrealm and the Radiant Godrealm. Umbros wanted Luminar weakened as much as possible. Nethros agreed. Then the 4 sovereigns chose their representatives. Nethros chose Leon. Umbros agreed, and placed his hope on Leon as well. Aurelia searched the White Radiance Zone, and fixed on the largest territory on the board. Its owner was Malaic Thorn, the second-year Primus of Imperial Ascension Academy. Luminar looked down on him at first because his core kin were goblins. Then he saw Malaic Thorn's talent, and changed his mind. In the end, Aurelia and Luminar both chose Malaic Thorn. Leon knew nothing of any of this. He continued gathering resources, while Death Sovereign's Aegis kept pulling enemy forces toward him. His energy climbed to 1,500,000. His relics and special products piled into the tens of thousands. Even so, Leon did not relax. The Sacred Radiance Marshal had already shown that some enemies could ignore the Dark Locust Overlord Bastion's negative effects. Leon needed another answer before the next crisis arrived. He chose the Aetherborn War Bastion. It excelled at charging attacks, and that charge could be shared across other Aetherborn War Bastions. Its range covered Leon's entire territory. Leon spent 1,200,000 energy, and built an Aetherborn War Bastion group in the center of his territory. Together with the one he already had, 41 Aetherborn War Bastions stood in formation. He tested them. When all 41 charged together, their great fireball could unleash 41,000 area damage in an instant. After being fitted with fused relics, that damage rose tenfold. 410,000. Even a king-class lifeform would die in one strike. Then a familiar voice called out. Leon turned and saw Victor Magnus waving from the neighboring Black Umbral Zone. Victor, Adrian, and Ilara had all chosen the Death faction together. Then Victor noticed Leon's territory, and froze. Leon already held 350,000 square kilometers. Victor had fought desperately, and only reached 100,000. Then, Victor suddenly sensed that one of his Titan Mammoth Bastions had been destroyed. He rushed back to stop the intruders in his land. Leon looked over and saw a group of Guildhorn beasts, rampaging. Leon examined Victor's bastions. There were 482 Titan Mammoth Bastions, 73 War Mammoth Bastions, and 1 Storm Tusk Mammoth Bastion guarding the center. Leon judged that Victor should have an even stronger line beyond the Stormtusk Mammoth Bastion, but he lacked the Tower Ascension Stones to build it. Victor had treated Leon well at Imperial Ascension Academy. Leon made his decision. Victor Magnus, give me permission. I want to enter your territory.